Hi guys, I'm here with Scotty Goble.
Thanks, Goble.
So Scott's going to be presenting in the Physique Coaching Apprenticeship, which is coming up in May this year. Today we're going to be interviewing Scott, going through, his journey so far, what he's done so far in his career, and also dive into all things bodybuilding and competition prep. So we'll start there. Tell us a little bit about your journey so far and kind of how you've gotten to where you are today.
Okay. I remember having a fascination with muscle from a very young age. I was always interested in it. I started probably lifting the heavy dictionary over my head when I was 6 years old and started weight training seriously at about 12. So I've been going at it for a long time. It dictated my career path. I studied exercise physiology in uni and I've been a professional in the fitness industry ever since. So now I am mostly coaching people. I did compete over an 11-year span and won some good titles. And that's set me up in a position now to just help others achieve their goals in bodybuilding and fitness. So I coach everyone from bikini, figure, bodybuilding, physique, anyone that wants to build muscle and lose fat, I try and help.
Cool. Tell us a little bit more about your education and then your competing career also.
Okay. Well, the degree I did, exercise physiology degree, technically a Bachelor of Applied Science in Human Movement. I chose all the strains that related to that I thought could benefit me because I wanted to get as big as humanly possible. So I did all the biomechanics, all the exercise physiology, or anything that I thought I could actually apply to myself. From there, I came out of uni, started working in gyms immediately. I didn't actually start competing until I was 28 years old, but I achieved some success relatively quickly. I think it was my second year of competition. I was winning a novice state title. My third year of competition, I was winning a heavyweight state title. By my fourth year, I was winning heavyweight national titles. And then I continued to win a few more of those, and then I started chasing my pro card. And unfortunately, ran up against guys like Josh Lenartowicz, so didn't quite achieve the pro dream, but got very, very close and had a great time competing at the highest level in amateur bodybuilding in Australia. And even when I was competing, I started helping others compete, and mostly starting with male bodybuilders. And now it is essentially my full-time profession, coaching others. I do a little bit of other stuff on the side, but that's basically what I do, and it's been very eye-opening coaching others. Some things work for me, they don't necessarily work for others.
Yeah, of course. Cool. So, and what else are you currently doing? So you're part of a podcast and you're doing a few other little things there. You run a supplement store as well.
Yeah, I have a supplement store in Moonee Ponds, S&A Supplements. I do a podcast with Luke Shembry, Muscle Radio. I'm a social media protagonist, and that's my role.
It's actually a highlight of my day when I scroll through and I see some of the statuses you post there. They're absolutely some of the funniest things I've ever seen. Cool. So, how many people have you prepped over the time? Give us some stats.
I haven't kept stats. It's in the hundreds. It will be approaching thousands soon, I would think, because I'll be prepping almost 50 people a year these days, because they're obviously scattered across multiple federations all throughout the year. There's not just season A and season B shows anymore, there's mid-year shows. I've got girls going over to compete internationally in WBFF pro shows and all sorts of things. So roughly put about 50 people up a year, and then I've got my ongoing coaching clients, some of which don't compete but they just want to improve themselves.
Yeah, cool. And so you've had X amount of champions over the years and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I've got national champions across multiple federations and multiple divisions. Again, I've lost track.
Yeah, cool. So tell us what's the biggest thing you've learned as a coach over the time?
The biggest thing I've learned is that everyone is quite different. There might be some universal physiological laws that apply to everyone. But the application of many training and nutritional principles differ for the individual. And the biggest mistake I made was thinking everyone would respond the way I did. And initially I coached everyone the way I prepped. So I would just beat them into the ground and I would run my peak week and it became very apparent very early that did not work for everyone, and I had to open my mind and read the signs that their body gave me and listen to their feedback and tailor their competition prep just specifically for them. So now I've got 11 people competing this weekend, and if you compared their peak week protocols or their last couple of months of training, it'd be very, very different. And that's across the board. It's not just the bikini guys are different to the bodybuilders. the bodybuilders are different to the bodybuilders. So it's really interesting. I think the biggest mistake people make is that they think one way is the best way, and there is no best way.
Yeah, so that's actually come up a few times when I've asked that questions to the different presenters. And even with my own coaching as well, I've found that just over the years, you have to understand the principles and understand what's going on in the body, because at the end of the day, if you put something in front of someone and it doesn't work, you have to be able to go somewhere from there. And if you don't understand what's going on, then there's a fair chance that your client will either leave you or they'll be quite disappointed.
Absolutely, and even the psychological component. Some people just don't want to train a particular way. If they don't enjoy it, or if they hate a particular style of dieting, it's just not going to work for them long term. So sometimes you have to actually compromise your own principles in order to put something which is sustainable, or you can actually see some long term progression for people, because there's no point forcing someone to do something they hate.
Yeah, 100%. Cool. So, do you want to run through the different phases of a competition prep for us and explain kind of what you're trying to accomplish in that phase?
Sure. In a best case scenario, you get to work with an individual over a fairly long period of time. So the period leading up to the official comp prep, I guess, which is the bit where you start to lean down, you're doing your absolute best to build muscle, build their metabolism, get them in optimal health, and perhaps even do a little deload so that they're extremely healthy, well rested, and metabolically in a very good place to start a diet. So that would be phase one. Phase one is preparing for a contest prep. When you begin a contest prep, you're starting to take body fat off. It's all about body composition and reducing body fat. So you're lowering calories. We've got to put them in a calorie deficit. And at that point in time, because they're well rested and they're still reasonably well fed, you can really ramp up the training volume as well. So you're absolutely stripping body fat off, and throughout the entire contest prep, you're trying to retain muscle. You might even be able to build some muscle in some individuals depending on their state at that period of time. And then you will inevitably come to a point where that last little bit of body fat is very, very difficult to come off. And at that stage, they're normally reducing their calories even more. Their aerobic activity might be going up even higher to just create that calorie deficit as they metabolically adapt. And you might find that you actually have to reduce the training volume because the overall stress on the body is not in alignment with the nutrition coming in. So normally in that second phase of the contest prep, the weight training and total workload will go down a little bit just to match the nutrition. Again, you're still doing your absolute best to retain every bit of muscle you've got. And then the last phase is the peak week. And the peak week should be based on scientific principles, and it should be based on things that you've trialed throughout the contest prep. Ideally, in that second phase of the fat loss process, you've had the opportunity to trial some high carb days. You might even do a little fluid manipulation or sodium manipulation just to see how that individual reacts. And then you can take that information and apply it into the peak week. In the perfect world, peak week, there is no guesswork. If you are trying things for the first time, it's a recipe for disaster.
Cool. And does this differ between natural and enhanced athletes?
Yeah, absolutely it does. The enhanced guys have more room for error, or the enhanced guys or the enhanced girls have more room for error. You can drop their calories much lower and expect to maintain muscle mass much easier. You can push their aerobic activity much higher and again expect to retain muscle mass. Their overall workload as a general rule can be a little bit higher as well. So it's not that they necessarily make easier progress, it's just that you can push them harder and expect them to still recover. There's much less room for error with the natural guys. You have to allocate a longer period of time in order to reduce the same amount of fat, just so you can guarantee you can hold on to muscle.
Cool. And you've been around the bodybuilding community for a long period of time. What's the biggest piece of advice you could give to coaches out there who are trying to enter the physique coaching realm or kind of trying to get into the prep scene?
Never stop learning. That's the main thing, and keep a really, really open mind, because you will come up against people which are the exception to the rule, and unless you are open-minded enough to realise that they're not going to respond to your typical principles, you're just not going to be able to get them in shape. I'm not a huge advocate of keto dieting in hard training anaerobic individuals, which are obviously competition preparation clients, but I've got a guy doing keto now and responding brilliantly to it. Just because it seems to be what works best for him.
That's blown my mind. Cool. So we're going to wrap it up there. So Scott will be presenting at the Physique Coaching Apprenticeship, which is coming up in May this year. He'll be presenting alongside some super successful and knowledgeable names such as James Kahn, Rawdon Dubois, Luke Tully, Alana Pooley, Dr. Nathan Bridger, the list goes on. If you are interested in attending the program, click the link below and register for a strategy call. Because the thing is, we're not taking everyone in this, we're only taking 30 people. So we kind of have to hand select the people that we think are going to get the most out of it and actually start applying what they learn and try to, I guess, bring the industry up as a whole.
Looking forward to it.
Cool. Thanks for your time, mate.
Thank you.